quick overview of how the Wago connector works. Inside here you have this little spring clamp, and what that spring clamp does is it provides force in this direction. So what it's actually doing is when you open this up, you're pushing this spring down, and it causes this little opening right here, this little plate, plate right here to move down. Okay. When that moves down, you now have an opening to insert the wire, and the wire would go through here and come in, and the wire strands reside in this little pocket here after insertion. When you release the spring tension, this mechanism moves up and the wire gets impinged between the contact and the actual spring itself. So I'm going to insert this little tool here that we use. This is just a Wago tool that we find very helpful. It has a little bend in it. We sell these on our site, comes with a lanyard. But I find these very useful at competitions to help teams solve wiring problems. And they're also useful for pushing down the little white buttons on the Weidmuller connectors too. So anyway, this is how it works. You insert this little guy in here, you open it up, and you can see that spring is now pushed down in compression now. And when you do that, this opens up like you see here. You have this little opening here that you can insert the wire into. So I'll show you that action from the top so that you can see it actually happen, hopefully here. Let's see. And you see how that cage clamp opens. Now, you got to make sure you completely insert the tool all the way back till it stops and doesn't go anymore. That will ensure that you have that the cage clamp is completely open. Okay. Now, once you have the cage clamp open, you insert your wire, you remove the tool, and now your wire is securely clamped inside between this contact and the actual spring. Now, one thing you want to be aware of with these connectors is if you don't strip the wire long enough, when you insert it, it's possible that you insert it too far and it actually clamps on the insulation. So you don't want that, because if it clamps on the insulation, you're going to get no conduction, or in some cases you'll get just enough, a few strands of this wire will actually contact the contact, but the rest of it won't. And when that happens, you'll get excessive heat from the excessive resistance caused by that will produce a lot of heat, and you may actually get performance issues from this. Your motor controllers may seemingly drop out. Your motors may not perform to the level of your expectation. So one quick check for this is just to feel the temperature here. If you feel this wire is really hot or it's discoloring, then that's probably your issue. You should double check your wiring and your cage clamp connections to make sure that they're not actually on the insulation. You can use ferrules. I've seen some teams use ferrules here. I don't think they're necessary, but a ferrule would enforce that you don't insert the wire too far, or that you don't strip it back insufficiently and cause it to clamp on the insulation. Ferrules have their own limitations. You got to make sure the strip length is correct with the ferrule, and you got to, of course, crimp the ferrule onto, this is a pretty good sized wire, and those crimpers tend to be expensive. So we don't recommend that you don't use them, but we also don't recommend that you use them. We have no opinion on it. It's totally preference. I personally don't. I just like the wire to board connections. That seems to work for us. But that's how they work, and this is how you use them. Thanks for watching.